Good evening, everybody, and I thank you for being here. I thank you, Special Rapporteur. We are very pleased to have you here, and thank you that you took the time. I know that you are very busy with your timetable. So I just don't go any further because I know that the time is very precious, and I give the microphone to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be here with you today. I'll be very happy after I speak to field any questions and comment or listen to any comments you may have. I have just, as you have seen, filed my 4th report after I became the rapporteur on the Summit of Iran, and I have covered a wide range of subjects. I began the report with a special focus on women's rights in Iran, a subject where, of course, there has been a lot of progress also, but also recently a number of concerning issues about the direction of things, where things are going. My report covers a wide range of issues that have been raised by various members of civil society, reported in the media, and communicated by individuals that alleged violations of their human rights or the rights of others with first-hand information about that. In light of these reports, it appears that the prevailing situation of human rights of Iran continues to warrant serious concern and will require a whole range of solutions that are both respectful of cultural perspectives and mindful of the universality of human rights, fundamental norms that are there. I've just come from a meeting, a very productive meeting with the mission in Iran. The ambassador and a delegation met me, and we discussed at length a number of issues in the report. I think this can be called the first substantive meeting I've had with the Iran authorities on the subject of my work, and I hope this will continue in the future, thereby enabling my reports to be even more comprehensive than they are. Today I would like to just focus on women's rights, but I believe some of the issues are also applicable to other communities in Iran. Women's situation in Iran, let me begin with the fact that there are, of course, very positive elements about women's status in Iran, especially if you compare with some of the other, perhaps comparable countries. And this relates to education in particular. Women in Iran are highly educated. There's been continued progress in regard to women's enrollment in universities. And I think today about 60% of all tertiary education students are women. And therefore it's a very high percentage and a very commendable percentage for any country. But there have been certain worrying developments reported recently, and this relates to, for example, access to higher education for women. There have been reports that 77 fields of study at higher education may become barred to women students. Of course, the government gives some reasons why this is the case, explaining that this may be the result of market forces, also a result of getting more balance towards what is the job market. But the question is, that's a choice that must be left to the individual to make, whether or not that person enrolls in a course of study that has high prospects of employment or other prospects in terms of their future careers. So that's an issue of a serious concern to me. I've also noted in my report, although Iranian women are highly educated, although there have been efforts by the government to get women to participate in the public of the country. You see women ministers, you see women deputy ministers, you also see women active in other walks of life, but full equality is still elusive, and certain types of offices are not available for women. Primarily, for example, the office of the president. Women have sought to run for this office, but there has, to my knowledge, never been a woman candidate approved to stand for elections for the presidency. So that is not compliant with Iran's ICCPR obligations. Likewise, although there are women judges and quite a high number of women judges, my information is that women cannot actually preside in proceedings in the court. Again, not a situation that can be justified by reference to international standards on gender equality. More generally, gender-based disparities in economic participation and political empowerment also remain problematic, and some recent developments threaten to reverse the educational gains that I mentioned earlier. In 2006, the government partially agreed to implement the recommendations made by the Special Rapporteur on Violence Against Women following her visit to Iran. This included the agreement to reform discriminatory provisions of the country's penal and civil laws, especially with regard to women's equal rights in marriage and access to justice. Also in February, 3 years ago, the government of Iran received a number of recommendations to the UPR, and there were 13 recommendations related to women's rights, and the government accepted to implement 8 of those recommendations. But I'm very keen to see what progress has been made in regard to those accepted recommendations. The Majlis also recently proposed 4 articles that require women to be married in order to become members of a university's scientific committee or to be employed at the Ministry of Education and Training. The Speaker of the Parliament Social Commission reported that the preconditions have not yet been approved, but the fact that these are before the Majlis is a concerning issue. In June 2012, Science and Technology Ministry announced that women sitting for the National Entrance Exam would be barred from enrollment in 77 fields of study at 36 public universities. And this included fields of study such as petroleum engineering, data management, communications, law, political science, social science, and religious studies. So a number of disciplines were either single-gendered or became difficult for women to access. A worrying report that came to me over the past few months was a proposal that a married woman may not obtain a passport or leave the country without her husband's written permission. In November 2012, Chairman of the Parliament's National Security and Foreign Policy Commission announced an amendment to the country's passport laws that would require unmarried women under the age of 40 and males under the age of 18 to require the consent of the guardian or a Sharia judge before they could acquire a passport. Although I'm glad to report that this has been rejected, it was still reported by the National Security Foreign Policy Commission that further amendments to the passport bill would continue to allow single women over the age of 18 to obtain a passport without permission, but would not be able to leave the country without the consent of the father or the legal guardian. I will not go through the whole list of matters already in my report, but I wish to state is this. I am aware that the government had made a number of efforts to focus on women's rights. The Charter of Women's Duties and Responsibilities is one example, but it only goes so far. At a certain level, then the question of gender equality is not assured for women. In addition to that, I also come across other aspects of challenges to women, although not necessarily on a gender area. Women activists often report difficulties with law, including arbitrary arrest. They may often be, mothers mourning loss of their children, or not knowing the whereabouts of their children, or other women's activist campaigns facing harassment or other obstacles based on difficulties with regard to right to assembly, right to expression, and right to association. So a number of difficulties in the path of civil and political rights affect women also, because women are in Iran seeking to be active but having their rights denied to them. For my current report, the government of Iran gave extensive comments. They came a bit late for me to incorporate them. However, I have put them up in my website. You'll find them on Shaheed on Iran.org, the full text of the detailed comments government of Iran gave to me. They are about 29 pages, and they focus a lot on what the country has done to advance women's rights, and also address some of the concerns I have raised. I leave to readers to judge whether or not the matters I have raised are valid. I believe that Iran's international obligations require the country to grant gender equality. It's part of the ICCPR, which requires both non-discrimination and gender equality. And the reason why I come back to this question is because it's a fundamental right, and unless gender equality is attained, then a country does not really attain its full potential as well. At the same time, it's a fundamental human right for men and women to be equal. That's the reason why I address this issue. Now, I will not carry on with my monologue here, but I'll be very happy to receive questions, listen to observations on this subject or any other matter in my report or any aspect of my work as special rapporteur. Thank you very much.